You should enjoy gardening. You should enjoy it whether you're even growing vegetables. I happen to have a personal thing. If I can't eat it, I don't grow it. I let Mother Nature grow all the flowers. They're everywhere along the road and all in the acreage that I cover. When I plant something, either I can eat it, or my birds can eat it, or my vulture can eat it. Something can eat it. And that's just a personal thing with me. Did I get this time? I keep pointing this the wrong way, huh? Okay, I went the wrong way. I hate this thing. Hello. All right, we're going to finally get there. Now I got to figure it out. The other thing that I do think is very valuable is fish emulsions. I have some questions about the way they're made these days. There's some companies that are actually catching menhaden just to make fish emulsion. I don't agree with that. For years, all the fish emulsions that we got, or the fish hydrolysates, were made from parts that we didn't get to eat, parts we didn't make food out of. I have to question the wisdom of stripping our oceans just to make fertilizer for our plants to eat. It's not a very efficient system. I happen to know that Maestro and Neptune's Harvest is one I know that only use fishes, the remains of somebody that ate the fish or did something with the fish. So I would promote those names if you're going to use them. The other side of it is it's pure magic. Again, you put kelp on or seaweed on and fish emulsion on a regular basis, and I'm not telling you there's not much you can't grow. What we need to talk about in growing things is that you're really not a vegetable farmer or a rose grower or a banana grower. You're a farmer for microbes. If you get the soil to the health that it ought to be at, and that's a mixture of all the guys that need to be in there, I don't care what you're growing. Your plants will get a hold of what they need and they'll be very, very healthy. There's a few exceptions. In the case of mycorrhizae, brassicas, which is cabbage and things, don't really need mycorrhizae fungi. You're wasting your time to grow for them because they don't use it. But most every other plant we grow lives in this primordial soup of, do y'all realize in a teaspoon of soil, there's about 50 million living beings, if we have to have a better word, if it's a healthy soil. And when you use synthetic fertilizers, it doesn't sterilize it. My dad told me that. He wouldn't use synthetic fertilizer because it killed the soil. No, it doesn't. There's still a bunch of guys in there. But you know what's not in there? The diversity's not there. And you want diversity. It's just like, for those of you, I hope there's no real grass growers here. If all you're growing is coastal in your field, you're hurting your field. You're hurting your cows. You're hurting everybody. Coastal Bermuda as a monocrop is a monocrop, and Mother Nature doesn't do monos. If you go to a field full of grasses that Mother Nature put together, there's 20, 30, 40 grasses, dozens of forbs out there. And you know what? There's not very many fire ants. Fire ants love monocultures. We are monoculture growers. What is corn? The whole field's corn. Anything else grows up, we just kill it. I have people that kill all the broadleafs in their coastal because they say, well, if I make a bale and I don't, nobody will buy the coastal. But would you like to raise your kids on just McDonald's burgers? They'll survive. They'll get big and fat, but they're not very healthy. You need to have a salad bar out there for the animals you raise. It needs to be broadleafs and 20 different kinds of grasses and forbs and things coming up, and then the animals getting what you and I would get. And that's a variety of the food we need to survive on. Our society is very, very much suffering from that. Now, we can do this to the rest of the night. Don't forget to stop me when I need you. Compost and compost tea, I'm really hot on. Huh?
15 minutes.
Compost, if money was no object and there was no carbon involved, you can't do better than put 3 inches of compost on the whole 10,000 acres you've got. Unfortunately, it's economically unfeasible. You just can't do it. So the next best thing is to make compost tea from good compost. Why? Because I can cover 1/4 of an acre with 5 gallons of tea.
Galen,
And I can get all those microbes that would have been in all that compost on that 1/4 of an acre, very simply. Yes? You're not supposed to.
We're trying to let Galen sit over here.
Hi,
There's
Galen.
an empty chair, Galen.
Yeah, I've been sitting all day.
Oh, here you go,
You
guys.
know, this spot.
Anyway, compost tea is very quick, very short, very inexpensive. Unfortunately, you have to do it pretty often. If I could get you to put 2 or 3 inches of compost on everything you grew, it'd last 3 to 5 years. If I get you to put compost tea on it, it'll last 3 to 5 weeks, or maybe a few months. So you have to do it a lot more often. But it's very easy to do. And again, back to my friend Betsy Ross, she's been growing these fields of hers with her cattle now for, I guess it's coming on 9 years. She doesn't put compost out, but she put compost tea out about 3 to 7 times a year, along with my other favorite thing, molasses. And she absolutely does have some of the prettiest mixed grass fields that I've ever seen. That's all she does. You ever heard of the corn maze out in Hondo? He hasn't put an ounce of fertilizer out in 9 years. Not an ounce. And his corn's so tall you can't see it off the tractor. But he uses compost and compost tea and molasses on a regular basis. And that is his entire fertilization system. He does crop his corn but leaves all the stalks in place, so he's got all that organic material there. Okay, he doesn't plow. He's a no-till farmer. Okay, and what do we do when we till? We kill a lot of the good guys. The fungi and everything.
I heard that Bruce Dooley say the other day that.
That's me, yeah.
Or not Bruce, I mean, the guy in Austin.
That other guy, John Gould. Yeah, he and I look a lot alike.
Who uses, he said the water up there has chloramine or.
Chloramine, not chlorine, yes.
Right.
And, so he has to use rainwater just to make the compost tea.
Yes.
The problem with compost teachers in the cities, he's right. A lot of us do just have chlorine, which will gas off. I guess the word's off gas,
Right.
if you let it sit. Unfortunately, chloramine doesn't off gas, and at least 2 areas of the city of San Antonio are now using chloramine, not chlorine, to make
New
your tea.
Braunfels does too.
Chloramine
Yes.
sucks.
Yes.
Chloramine's a chemical that has to be chemically removed. I was in a class with Dr. Ingham, Lean Ingham. She says even the chemicals that you use in the aquarium is really not still making the water near as good for bugs as, so I don't know how you fix that. I mean, if I tell you to use distilled water or rainwater to make it, but then you're gonna put it through a water hose that's throwing chloramine out there, that's sort of a bad situation. You're not doing yourself a lot of good. Now, I will admit, from the studies I've seen, you're not killing all the bugs, okay, but you're killing a lot of them. What do you think they put it in the water for? They think that sterile is the only way to go. Is there any doctors in here? Folks, I got news for you. Sterile is probably the worst thing we can do. You need to live in the world. The hygiene theory is what they call it. I always make fun, you need to let your kid sleep on the dog once in a while. Your kid needs to eat a little dirt. He needs to have a dirty diaper, stick his finger in his mouth once in a while. That's the way we've been doing for eons. And to think that we can sterilize our way through existence, pasteurized milk, homogenized, these bacterial soaps are more harm for you than they are good. Antibacterial soaps are stupid. And a lot of people are learning that. I was a nurse, and they bathed me in, was it betadine solution or something? Now, in that situation, I got to admit, I didn't want to poke my finger in this guy's eye that it wasn't sterile. But I realized the betadine and the hexachlorophene, that's the one they took off the market, was damn near a danger to my own body. Being sterile is not a good idea. There's situations where I absolutely agree that it needs to be. But in most cases, you're better off with letting dirt exist. You're better off, like I said, with a dog in the house.
Well,
Yeah.
children that have pets, especially dogs, have fewer allergies, symptoms. than
Fewer
others.
allergies, fewer asthmas, fewer everything as they grow up. Your body is there to adjust itself.
Not true with cats, but definitely true with dogs.
Yeah. Am I gonna get this right? You don't have to read any of this.
There's a little thing in this that when you hit it hard, it's gonna change it.
Slap it. What is compost tea? Compost tea is not compost leachate, let me tell you. You don't just put, and this is again, I'm gonna pick on my butt.